Hello there. What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to be building a rebel list using the rebel officer as a commander and trying to revisit some of the early lists I did on the first few waves of this game. Back when I was really trying to max rebel troopers and AT-RTs and really try and get something crazy going on with really higher activation counts. We've seen a lot of points reductions, and it's made me want to revisit some of those earlier lists and kind of add some of the new upgrades and things that have come out. Let's see what we can't get. I think I've come up with something pretty good here that has a couple of different ways to win, but I'd love to see what you guys think. There's a new round of the giveaway going on right now for a $25 Amazon gift card. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. And we're going to go ahead and get into it. So I am going to try and go for higher activation counts here. I'm going to use the Rebel Officer. And he's not going to have a whole lot on him. He's really there just to do some inspiring and to be a cheap commander, kind of getting rid of that commander requirement. We are going to do some heavy hitters though. I'm going to run two rebel troopers that are going to be Z6s, which are my favorite. Wait, did we not put the rebel officer in there? There he is. All right. So our rebel troopers are going to have the Z6 because that's my favorite gun in the whole game. I mean, 6 white dice, and hey, there's always that chance that they could be wonderful. And we're going to try to help that chance get a little bit better with a couple of interesting things. First off, we do have something that we didn't used to have when I used to build a lot of Rebel Z6 options, but we have the Captain. And this Captain is just great for late game, so you can make sure you get to do what action you need to do without being suppressed, which is always a nice little thing. But he also gives us a training upgrade. And one thing I like to do on Z6 units is have the option to get an aim. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the offensive push upgrade on this unit. And we're also going to give it targeting scopes. So now here is a unit that's going to potentially have a couple of extra free aims this game. Maybe at least 2. Maybe more than that because maybe we'll run some electro binoculars in this list also. And so now here's a unit that definitely wants to be able to aim and shoot. And plus they might take an aim on their own as well. And definitely get that extra damage out there. We're also going to give them the most amazing grenade in the world, the Fragmentation Grenades, which is going to give them surge to crit. It also upgrades those dice. So if they can manage to get in close, this is just a great upgrade for the rebels. They do already have black dice, so it's not that great, but you know you're upgrading the surge and the dice, so it's just an all-around a really nice upgrade if they can get in close enough, because then you'll be rolling a bunch of red dice and still your Z6. You've got the surge to crit in there. Hopefully you've got some rerolls for some of those whites, but you'll have a really nice attack pool. Now we are using all of the upgrade slots on this, which you don't always do, but I wanted to do that here. We're going to duplicate this once. By the way, we're using Tabletop Admirals Builder today, and I'll put a link to this list down in the video description below. There's also going to be some links in the description below for other things like my website, if you want to check out my Discord, as well as my merch store. There's lots of links for that, and Patreon as well. So if you're interested in supporting the channel or finding me on social media or checking out any of my links, definitely check out the video description below. So now that we've got those two heavy hitter rebel troopers out of the way, we are going to put in a support rebel trooper, and he is going to run. And look, I know that not fleets, but that our rebel veterans got buffed, and rebel veterans are awfully good right now. But I kind of wanted to revisit. Right, I want to revisit something a little older. So let's add another rebel trooper, and this one will be just kind of cheaper, and he's going to be in there for the electro binoculars. We're going to give him electro binoculars. He can hand out extra aims to help support these guys, and also just be there for extra objective holders. Now, I want to do something fun here, and that's also revisit the awesome fleet troopers. Because I want to have some close up and nasty stuff. We want to get in close. We want to be able to do nasty things. Now, look, I think the rebel troopers are going to be fine at ranges 1, 2, and 3. But if they can get into range 1, that's great. But I want to have some fleet troopers in here. I think fleet troopers are going to be a lot of fun. I haven't run them in a long time, and I think I'm going to run 2 more of these. That's going to give me 5 core options, and they're each going to run the scatter gun because, hey, Pierce is a really good keyword to have, and not enough units have Pierce. Well, I mean, I think that's probably okay. And we're going to add an extra Fleet Trooper upgrade here. So we're going to have a really nice attack pool on these guys. That's all we're going to run on them for right now. And we'll run 2 Fleet Troopers, primarily just because I think we're going to start using them again once the transports get revealed and we see, you know, if there's new ways to transport entire units. Maybe we can get Fleet Troopers back up into the middle of things much quicker and faster. So I want to get used to running Fleet Troopers again. And at least as of the time of me recording this, the new transports haven't been fully actually announced yet. So we're trying to get this we're trying to get back used to running Fleet Troopers again and see how well they're going to feel. I'm also getting back into some older stuff is the AT-RT. The AT-RT is just an all-around solid vehicle. I've always liked the AT-RT. It just hasn't been as flashy, right? It's not as pretty of a vehicle, so it doesn't look as cool on the tabletop, so I used to not take it as much. But it's a great vehicle to have, honestly, and hard points all went down compared to where they used to be, but in this case I'm going to put the AT-RT Rotary Blaster on here. That's going to give this thing 5 dice with Surge to crit, and black dice at that, so it's just an all-around very strong vehicle. It still has the 2 white if it somehow needs to shoot outside of the front arc, if somebody gets behind it, for example. But armor really is just going to be so great here, right? You're just going to have a hard time with anybody that trying to get through the armor to this thing, unless of course they brought more armor. And sometimes people are bringing more armor now, and that's fine. If they go really heavy on the armor, the impact keywords and stuff like that, that's going to be okay, because that means they probably won't be as well equipped to deal with all of your troopers. And if they are kind of light on that, they're going to struggle, because we are actually going to have 3 of these AT-RTs. We're going to duplicate that 3 times, so triple AT-RTs, each with rotary blasters. That's going to do us quite good. Now, admittedly, we don't have range 4 weaponry in this particular build right now, but that's going to be okay, because we're going to add a little bit more. Because we're only at 626, and we're already at 9 activations. We're going to add a cheap activation right here, and that's going to be R2-D2. R2-D2 is going to come in, and that's going to bring us up to 10 activations. We've got lots of points left. I think it's time to add an expensive unit, and one that's going to give us a lot of different options. So what we're going to add, I'm going to add the X-34 Land Speeder. This thing is so much cheaper now than it used to be, and a lot of its upgrades also went down in cost. But the Land Speeder, what's great about the Land Speeder right now is it's going to be able to take R2-D2 across the battlefield, and he is going to be able to get his secret mission on a lot faster than he normally would have been able to do, which I really like. So he'll be able to jump into the vehicle, which is super cool. Now, that means I can't really run C-3PO with him, because he's not going to be able to do a whole lot there. But he can also help repair this vehicle, because he's got the repair keywords. And if it's a map that maybe we don't want to do secret mission on, then R2-D2 can stick around and repair the AT-RTs as well. So we have even answers if our opponents do have some impact. So we have some flexibility on this particular build. But now for the rest, now we could stop right there with the X-34 Land Speeder. We've got enough points, we could throw another Special Forces on. We could push it up to 12 activations if we want, but I don't want this thing to be just a drop-off and delivery system for R2-D2. I want this thing to have a little fun and a little punch with it too. One of the things I want to add to it is Rider Azadi. Rider Azadi is going to allow us to increase our speed. He's going to be an exhaustible, but yeah, he when we are really trying to push past our opponents and drop off R2 into a hostile situation, Rider is going to be good for that. So, or if we need to do a compulsory in a really tight spot, and we can always exhaust him to slow down to make that compulsory move a speed 1 move. But I like the idea of him helping us speed up and get past a tricky situation where we might otherwise get killed. So that much is fun. Now, for our weapons, I'm going to give us the Ion Blaster. The Ion Blaster on this thing is exceptionally nice with its 5 dice. It's also does give us range 4 capability, but it is in its impact and ion. Ion being a very nice thing in case we happen to go up against some really deadly heavy big vehicles. this is giving us a little bit of that. Now, granted, I do think that the fragmentation grenades on the rebel troopers are going to give us some, some anti-vehicle capability, as well as the triple AT-RTs with their surge to crit is also going to give us some well-rounded, attack potential. But this one is a little bit more dedicated towards vehicles and or droids. I mean, heck, Ion is also just nice against shielded units as well. So we're going to run that. We're also going to run the RPS-6 rocket gunner, who is just awesome. Not even restricted to the front arc, so if you need to split fire, you can do that. It's got impact 2, so another a little bit more dedicated anti-armor on this particular build, and that's kind of one of those reasons that we want to have the capability to go fast, because if we do go up against heavy armor, they're going to be trying to kill this land speeder quick, and while it does have armor 2 and cover 1, it's not going to live forever. So it wants to try and move out of the kill zone quickly if possible. So the RPS-6 rocket gunner is going to go on there. It gives us 3 more dice. We have Arsenal 3 on this thing, and so it's always like really tricky to be like, gosh, you could run it cheap, but the good guns for it are so expensive, and you feel bad kind of throwing away Arsenal 3. So it's so these are the 2 that I've chosen for this particular build. This gives me a decent amount of firepower. Of course, our third weapon will just have to be those basic 2 drivers DH-17 blaster pistols, and that's going to give us, we have surge to hit on there already, which is going to work well with impact. And so I think we got a good punch to this particular land speeder. So even if we end up not needing to transport R2, or if we transport him really quickly, we can then turn around and join the fight. This puts us in at 798. We'll have a little bit of a bid here. Now, normally with no named commander, you'd think, well, we're just going to go with all the generic cards. But since we have R2, we actually have to ask some questions about which cards we're going to use. I do like covering fire, since we have 5 core options. We're going to be giving out lots of core orders, so this will be a very good thing. I definitely want covering fire to happen. And for our other 3-pip, we could go with smoke screen, but I don't think R2 is going to be close enough to do this. Now, the smoke 1 could help protect the speeder, because what's going to happen is when he gets out of the speeder, he can't get out, do a free action secret mission, and then proceed to re-embark. You can't disembark and then re-embark in the same turn. So he's going to have to spend at least 1 turn where he kind of gets out and has to stay there. So that would be a good time for him to maybe drop the smoke screen. So now all of a sudden the land speeder is going to have heavy cover for the defense. So heavy cover and armor 2 might really help it survive that. But that's, if he's done his secret mission, then maybe he can afford to lose the speeder at that point. So I think it's a little bit more likely that assault is going to be more useful, and so we're going to go with that. Now for our 2-pip, I honestly did think about running impromptu immolation. I think there's an argument to be made for this particular card, because you may be dropping R2-D2 off in a hostile area. Maybe you get to go last, but you're going to want to go early the next turn, and R2-D2 is out and he's exposed. You could potentially have him do this shot, and then he gets a free move action. And then it doesn't say a speed X move, so during his free move action, he could actually re-embark. Which would be fun, as long as it's not the same activation that he disembarked from. But that, there's a little bit of possibility, like there's a limited use case that you could do that, and I think that's kind of cool. But I'm going to go with turning the tide instead for my other 2-pip. I mean, we're going to run push, but turning the tide is just so useful here, because we have 3 supports and a heavy. So that's going to be a lot of Inspire that's out there, and I think that's going to be way more valuable to this particular list. So we're going to run Turning the Tide and push, just because it's more flexible. It gives me 2 units, and that can be that could be a game breaker right there. So we're going to go with push. I will run Blast Off though, because if R2 doesn't manage to get there, if this land speeder gets blown up, R2 is going to need Blast Off, and I really like that. And plus, I don't have special forces here, so Sabotage Communications is going to be limited. And if I'm doing that, I'd rather run Blast Off. But I will run Ambush, because that's the really the only other option at that point. And that is pretty much the list. As far as objectives, I think I would probably want to go with our. This would probably be the first one that I run rollout with. I think that would be pretty fun to be able to get R2 back behind enemy lines early, but at the same time, I think doing it too early is going to be dangerous because while everything is right there, that's going to be tricky. But we'll have to see. I think there's a lot of flexibility on the objective deployments and conditions that we run here. But the most of it is, I think that this is a moderately well-rounded list. We've got pretty decent activation counts without having to have all of my units be very, very weak. I mean, I've got 2 really strong rebel troopers, 2 strong fleet troopers if they get close, the 3 AT-RTs, which are just going to be really strong all around, and then the X-34. So I think I've got at least 5, 6. I think I got at least 6 really strong units, possibly 7 or 8 if the situation is right. The fleet troopers may not work out that well, but I would rather I'd rather have them and start getting used to fleet troopers again. Because I have a good, strong feeling that once the next wave of transports come out, we're going to start seeing fleet troopers get used a little bit more steadily. All right, guys, that's all I've got for today. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check the links in the description below. I'll put a link to this list there as well, and you can give me some feedback if you want. Hop in the Discord and talk lists and strategy over there as well. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing. I couldn't do this without your continued support, so thank you for continuing to support the channel. If you're interested in that, there's links in the description below to Patreon as well. I want to thank you so much, and as always, have a great day.